There are reporters who take live television to another level, whether by getting themselves into trouble, dying of embarrassment, or simply going way too far to get the perfect story. From epic blunders to totally unexpected moments, these journalists have delivered scenes that nobody forgets, and that is exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and drop your like, click the button below to subscribe, and let us get to it. During the broadcast of a live show, everything seemed to be going normally until an unexpected situation caught the audience's attention. As the cameraman adjusted the frame, he ended up focusing the camera at an angle that showed more than it should, directing the image toward the legs of the host, who was wearing a short skirt. Realizing what was happening, she reacted immediately and visibly irritated, asking the professional to stop filming that way. The moment, aired in real time, caused great discomfort and quickly went viral on social media. While some viewers defended the host and criticized the cameraman's lack of professionalism, others claimed that the incident could have been avoided with a wardrobe choice more appropriate for the situation. So who is right? During coverage of Hurricane Florence, a reporter from the Weather Channel ended up becoming the center of attention for a very unusual reason. While doing a live broadcast directly from Wilmington in North Carolina, he appears struggling to stay on his feet, apparently facing very strong winds. However, a few seconds later, two people walk calmly behind him, moving along normally as if nothing were happening. The contrast between the reporter's difficulty and the calm of the pedestrians led many to accuse the journalist of exaggerating in order to dramatize the situation. In a short time, the clip was shared more than 1 million times, accompanied by jokes and criticism of the network's credibility. In response to the backlash, the Weather Channel issued a statement explaining that the reporter was standing in an area of wet, unstable grass, which would justify his trouble keeping his balance, while the people in the background were walking on concrete. Even so, the explanation did not convince everyone, and the video is still remembered as one of the most embarrassing and funniest moments in television journalism during natural disaster coverage. During a live broadcast in the city of São Vicente on the coast of the state of São Paulo in Brazil, reporter Vanessa Medeiros from TV Tribuna ended up feeling unwell in the middle of her report. She was talking about a police operation on Morro Votorua when suddenly she lost strength and had to be supported by the cameraman who was with her, Fernando Skillo.
O homem que está preso, que vai ser preso e está no hospital. Desculpa, a gente não está me sentindo bem.
Nós tivemos a Vanessa acabou se sentindo mal, nossa equipe vai acudi-la lá.
The scare was big, both for those watching at home and for the crew on the scene. Vanessa later said that she had a drop in blood pressure and blacked out for a moment, but without actually hitting her head, since Skillo managed to catch her before she fell. Right after the episode, she was taken to a hospital, underwent tests, and was given medication. Fortunately, nothing serious was found. The cameraman also explained that he noticed the moment when the reporter began to feel sick. He said that as soon as she brought her hand to her face, he stepped out from behind the camera and managed to hold her against a wall, preventing a harder fall. On social media, viewers expressed their concern, and Vanessa made a point of reassuring everyone. She thanked them for the messages, confirmed that she was fine, and said she would just need to rest a little. TV Tribuna reported that she is receiving support from the network and should return to work as soon as she feels fully recovered. In 1999, the British show Blind Date went through a situation that no one behind the scenes expected to face. Among the contestants looking for a romantic partner was Nicola Gill, who claimed to be a temporary secretary, but was in fact a journalist for Cosmopolitan magazine. Nicola infiltrated the show with a clear objective: to write a story showing what happened behind the cameras of the popular dating reality. She went through the entire selection process without raising suspicion, but during the recordings, the ruse was uncovered. The production figured out who she really was, and host Cilla Black decided to clear things up right there in front of the audience and the other participants.
I know for a fact that you're an undercover journalist and you've robbed somebody of coming on a proper blind date. You work for Cosmopolitan magazine. She's a journalist, ladies and gentlemen, not a blind date at all.
The scene carried a certain good humor, but there was tension in the air as she was exposed. The journalist was removed from the stage and, of course, did not get to take part in the blind date. Even after the scolding, Nicola published the article she had planned, describing the embarrassment and impact of her failed attempt. In the end, the story still drew attention, and there she exposed everything that happened behind the scenes and how things were manipulated, and the show ended up gaining a curious tale that to this day is remembered by fans as one of the strangest days in the program's history. A reporter in Greece ended up becoming news for a reason very different from what he imagined. During a live broadcast about flooding in the region, he tried to speak seriously about the water damage, but a pig suddenly appeared out of nowhere and simply refused to leave his side.
Pig was alive. This reporter in Greece was trying to get out of this pig's way. The man was doing a live weather hit on area flooding when the pig started.
Clearly uncomfortable, the journalist tried to move away, but the animal seemed determined to steal the scene. With every step the reporter took, the pig followed him, grunting and nudging him with its snout. The scene became even funnier because in the studio, the anchors were watching everything live and could not contain their laughter. While the reporter tried to keep his composure and continue talking about the heavy rains, the animal became the true star of the segment, insisting on joining the live shot as if it knew exactly where the camera was. The moment quickly turned into one of the most entertaining live broadcasts on Greek TV, reminding everyone that nature does not always cooperate with journalism, especially when it involves a pig full of personality determined to appear more than the reporter himself. During the intense protest in front of the White House in the year 2020, a Fox News crew lived through moments of real panic. Reporter Leland Vittert and his colleagues were doing a live segment when they were surrounded by a group of mass demonstrators. The atmosphere, already tense because of the protests after the death of George Floyd, quickly spun out of control. While Vittert reported what was happening, someone lunged at him and the group had to run from the area. The journalists were chased, assaulted, and hit by objects during their escape. One of the security guards was even knocked down, and the crew's camera ended up broken when someone tried to rip it from the cameraman's hands. With no police nearby, the group managed to reach a patrol car a few blocks away, but the officer inside refused to get out, which made the desperation even worse. Only after a few minutes did security forces manage to contain the crowd. Vittert, used to covering conflicts in dangerous regions such as Egypt, Ukraine, and Libya, said that this was one of the most frightening moments of his career. Fox News management condemned the attack and reminded everyone that journalists should not be put at risk simply for doing their jobs. For many, the scene became a portrait of the extreme tension that took over American streets during that period. What was supposed to be a simple political debate ended up turning into real chaos on Jordanian TV. In May of 2014, two journalists invited to discuss the crisis in Syria, Shaker al-Jahari and Mohammed al-Jayouzi, began to disagree with such intensity that the conversation went completely out of control. The atmosphere heated up quickly, interruptions and accusations piled up until neither of them seemed willing to listen to the other. In a moment of fury, they stood up, began trading gestures, and ended up yanking the studio table away in the middle of the fight. The production team had to act fast to separate the two and avoid something more serious. The scene, which aired live, left viewers unable to believe what they were seeing. The show, which was supposed to present a debate of ideas, ended up showing a physical confrontation between two professionals who simply lost their patience in front of the cameras. During a local broadcast in Hernando, Mississippi, a reporter ended up starring in one of the most curious scenes on American TV. The journalist was doing a live segment about alleged sightings of a puma in the area when something unexpected appeared right in front of the camera. As he explained that residents had recorded videos of a large feline roaming the neighborhood, the reporter pointed to a nearby animal and commented that it could be the supposed puma. But it soon became clear that the predator in question was just a relaxed house cat, chilling on the lawn as if nothing were happening. The contrast between the serious tone of the report and the appearance of the little cat made the video spread quickly among the public. Despite the funny scene, reports of a possible puma continued to be investigated by local authorities since several residents claimed to have seen a large animal in the area. In a quiet neighborhood of Vila Nova de Colares, in the city of Serra, in the state of Espírito Santo in Brazil, a 50-year-old construction worker ended up drawing attention for a very unusual reason. Justino, who presents himself as an evangelical pastor, began to be viewed with suspicion by residents after claiming that the Bible allowed him to have more than one woman. With few followers in his services, according to him, about a dozen, Justino said he found in the Bible itself the justification for maintaining relationships outside of marriage. The controversy grew stronger when a married neighbor said she had dreamed that she would have children with the pastor and interpreted the dream as a divine revelation. Her husband, also religious, said that he even prayed asking for guidance, believing that if it were God's will, then the act should be carried out. During an interview, Justino tried to explain his point of view by quoting the book of Hosea, chapter 3, verse 1, but was quickly confronted by the journalist, who showed that he had read it wrong and had swapped the word adulteress for adultery. Realizing the mistake, the supposed pastor was left very embarrassed.
Aqui. Vai outra vez, ama uma mulher amada de seu amigo.
Sim.
E adúltera. Não é adúltera? Tem acento aqui, pastor.
Deixa eu ver.
Religious leaders in the region spoke out, saying that the passage in question talks about forgiveness and not about multiple relationships. For them, the case reinforces the importance of knowing the word well before following someone who uses the Bible in a distorted way. This case took place in the United States and drew attention because of the unbelievable twist it had. Reporter Ione Hughes was in the middle of street coverage, working normally, when she ended up becoming part of the very story. During the recording, a suspect approached and stole the station's live transmission truck while the crew was still outside. The photographer was setting up the equipment when it all happened, and Ione, who was pregnant at the time, reacted quickly. She got into the vehicle and fastened her seatbelt before the criminal hit the gas. In the station's studio, located in Atlanta, anchor Karen Greer heard everything in real time. She later said that she heard the sound of the vehicle speeding off and the crew's screams without understanding what was happening. The suspect drove a short distance before losing control and crashing into the curb. Fortunately, the impact was light and the truck did not end up hitting a nearby tree. Despite the scare, Ione did not suffer serious injuries and was released from the hospital shortly afterward. The most curious detail is that according to the police, the woman who stole the vehicle was also pregnant. She was arrested and is expected to answer for kidnapping and vehicle theft. It is such an absurd case that it shows how reporters are never completely safe while doing their job. During a report about a traditional grape stomping competition, those in which people step on the fruit to extract the juice, an unusual moment ended up stealing the scene. Two participants were side by side, each in her own tub, and everything seemed to be going fine until one of them lost her balance and fell in an unexpected way. The scene was broadcast live, and the fall was so sudden that it left everyone on site without a reaction for a few seconds. The colleague who was still stomping the grapes quickly stopped what she was doing to try to help. The first day of work for AJ Clemente as a news anchor in North Dakota ended up going down in TV history, but not for the reasons he hoped. Right at the start of his live debut, before he even realized that his microphone was already on, AJ let slip two words that definitely should not have gone to air.
AJ on NBC North Dakota News, and he'll be joining the weekend news.
The embarrassment was immediate. His co-anchor tried to continue with the newscast, keeping her composure while he, completely awkward, tried to introduce himself to the viewers as if nothing had happened. But it was already too late. The gaffe had been heard by everyone and quickly spread across the internet. A few hours later, AJ was fired. The network issued a public apology and promised that something like that would not happen again. Even with the early end of his career on local TV, the case drew so much attention that he ended up appearing on national shows, including Good Morning America. Ironically, in just a few seconds of airtime, AJ Clemente achieved a kind of fame that many journalists spend years trying to reach. His debut became synonymous with the worst first day of work possible, and is still remembered as one of the most embarrassing moments in live television. Journalist Rafael Silva from TV Alterosa in the Brazilian state of Minas Gerais was at the center of one of the most striking moments on Brazilian television at the beginning of the year 2022. While presenting a live newscast, he suffered a sudden illness and collapsed in front of the cameras. The incident, which took place on January 3rd, shocked the public. Rafael, 36 years old, was helped by colleagues and rushed to the hospital. On the way, he suffered 5 cardiac arrests and had to be intubated. Even without remembering anything that happened, neither the day of the fainting nor the hours before, he survived thanks to the quick medical care. The medical diagnosis pointed to a serious cardiac arrhythmia with no relation to a heart attack or any pre-existing illness. After detailed examinations, the doctors decided to implant a cardioverter defibrillator in his heart, a small device responsible for monitoring and correcting possible arrhythmias. The equipment now accompanies him permanently, providing greater safety and reducing the risk of new crises. While he fought to recover, the episode began to be used in a distorted way by anti-vaccine groups, who linked the sudden illness to the booster dose against COVID-19 that Rafael had taken days earlier. Doctors and specialists, however, were categorical in stating that there is no connection between the event and the vaccine. Today, recovered and back on TV, Rafael sees the experience as a rebirth. He says he has learned to value time and take better care of himself, and also to ignore the false theories that emerged after his case. During a newscast that seemed to be going completely normally, a simple comment ended up creating one of the most embarrassing situations on TV. The anchor was announcing, together with his colleague, the victory of a politician in an important award. Everything was flowing smoothly until he decided to joke about the size of the trophy, saying that he did not understand how something so small could be so impressive. That was when his colleague came out with an unexpected reply. With a discreet smile and a humorous tone, she said that he probably knew very well what it was like to have something small that impresses. That one line was enough to make the audience burst into laughter and start wondering whether it was a subtle jab.
Can't understand how something so small can be so impressive.
Well, Mark, you would know about that. Thank you very much.
The fact is that even without meaning to, the two journalists ended up delivering one of the most talked about moments on television that day. And as happens with everything that has a touch of live awkwardness, the video spread quickly, leaving the audience torn between laughing or feeling secondhand embarrassment. Do not forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.